Despite all efforts by the British last week at Copenhagen, we stormed our way to victory, and we delivered the greatest defeat the British have suffered since the American Revolution. Barack Obama, up to now the British Empire's puppet, is on the losing end of a war that Lyndon LaRouche began on April 11th of this year. He now exists as president only to the extent that he cooperates with Lyndon LaRouche. In that sense, there is now light at the end of the tunnel. The LaRouche PAC lobby has an emergency recovery program for the United States. There's no time to waste. To get the United States on the road to recovery, the first step we must take is to declare a state of national emergency. The general breakdown crisis is happening now. We have to start a national recovery program this year, not wait until Obama's term has ended, or even the November elections. So what we will present to you here is the LaRouche PAC program which will put the nation on the road to recovery.
First, we're going to cancel Obamacare and shut down the HMOs. By Christmas Eve, the Senate, led by Harry Reid, will attempt to force through Obama's health care reform, which not only denies care, but will cost the lives of Americans. Anyone who goes with Obama's policy will go down. Those congressmen who go along with Obama's program will lose. If you want to deal with the question of health care, you do it right. Before putting through any reform, you must cancel the HMO system, which was designed to reward the insurance companies, provide less care for you, and drive qualified health practitioners out of work. We're going to cancel the HMOs and go back to Franklin Roosevelt's Hill-Burton standard. Hill-Burton established America's first system of public health, where the priority of the national system was the well-being of each individual. Roosevelt said the government's objective is to provide infrastructure, build hospitals, guarantee that the most up-to-date technology was widely accessible, and improve the skill level of the healthcare workers while employing more of them. The administration of this national program was to be organized on a county-by-county basis. So, by 1980, the United States had nearly 5 hospital beds for every 1,000 citizens county by county, and we had the best, most integrated national system of public health in the world under the Hill-Burton standard.
Second, we're going to return the United States banking system to the Glass-Steagall standard, and we're going to do it the LaRouche way. That means taking the tens of trillions of dollars in fictitious debt, taking the $23 trillion Bush-Obama bailout, and canceling it. Only the legitimate debts of legitimate commercial banking institutions shall be honored. In that sense, we're going to return the United States to our constitutional national banking system, which was established under Alexander Hamilton as the first Treasury Secretary. Under that constitutional system, the U.S. government is the only entity that can utter credit or issue claims on U.S. currency. Anything that resembles a gambling debt like financial derivatives, the speculative claims of hedge funds, or any other fake monetary claims will immediately be discounted as unconstitutional and thrown into the nearest dumpster. Further, under the Hamiltonian system, we will take the presently bankrupt Federal Reserve into receivership to be reorganized into the Third National Bank. The current Federal Reserve System keeps the U.S. government beggaring to a privately controlled central bank. That system of banking was explicitly outlawed under the Constitution as written by Hamilton, because the sovereignty of a nation depends on its ability to control its credit and to control its future. Therefore, the government, not a private interest, has the right and the responsibility to issue credit to those purposes which were outlined in the preamble of our Constitution, and to develop our territory and, most importantly, our people. So we are going to return to a Glass-Steagall standard of banking, because we must now clean out the banking system of any unconstitutional claims to lay the basis for that reorganized Third National Bank, which will provide the waves of productive credit to fund our recovery and take back our economy.
We've got to start an employment program this year. We have an unemployment crisis in the United States, especially among our youth. During the summer of 2009, only 51% of American youth between the ages of 16 and 25 were employed, the lowest rate of youth employment since the end of the Second World War. Of the total number of employed American youth, a full 93% of them are employed in non-productive service jobs like retail and the hospitality industry. The nation faces an existential crisis, an unskilled, uneducated, uninspired youth generation possessing none of the productive skills or knowledge necessary to take responsibility for the future of the country. Therefore, we will create the most far-reaching jobs program which the nation has ever seen. It's not going to be make work in the way that people usually think of a jobs program today, but a work program where the people who are employed are engaged in productive work, work that they can be proud of. We'll fund a Roosevelt-style CCC to get the nation's millions of unskilled, unemployed young adults between the ages of 18 and 30 working on productive projects, receiving training while on the job, building transportation systems, high-speed rail systems, and other major infrastructure projects. Like Roosevelt did, we will take the demoralized youth living in our cities and suburbs on the verge of drug addiction and crime out of their depressing circumstances and organize them into optimistic, productive, self-disciplined units, working as a team on building projects of national importance while gaining the skills and education which will be required to enter the high-tech specialized skilled labor force. Immediately, we will set about building an upgraded transportation system, national high-speed, electrified and maglev rail. In January 2009, the United States' overall grade for national infrastructure was a D. We will get to work improving our national waterways. Our locks and dams are aging and breaking down. Our power grid is insufficient to meet our nation's demands. We need a power grid based on nuclear power and standardized assembly line construction of fourth-generation high-temperature gas-cooled reactors with the excess heat capacity used to desalinate water and put an end to this nation's water crisis. We have used up large supplies of groundwater. The drawing down of the Ogallala Aquifer in the southwest United States has caused massive land subsidence. We need to replenish it. And the youth trained in this CCC program will be the ones to take the responsibility and the pride in accomplishing these projects. To provide the necessary leadership of these youth, we will need the skilled machinists who were formerly employed in auto and aerospace-related industries. They will be brought into the project to train this new generation of workers in high-technology labor skills. This combination of the unskilled youth who will be trained and the skilled but currently unemployed adult labor force who will be the trainers will cut across the board and mobilize the country as a whole. Responsibility for logistics, discipline, and organization of the program will be given to veterans of our recent foreign wars, including both Iraq wars and the current one in Afghanistan. Projects will be selected in every region of the country, every state, and every city and town which are now literally dying. With this therapeutic process of putting our people back to work, we will heal our nation and heal our people. We will create a different mental attitude among ourselves of striving towards the future, a future in which the unemployed youth of today are the skilled scientists of tomorrow, industrializing not only our nation and our world, but the moon and eventually Mars as well. In this way, we will get the spirit of a Roosevelt-style recovery program moving and put the United States back on the path towards progress.
This is a mission for the United States today. Obama has lost. He and the people who support him are on the losing end, and the American people are going to come out much bolder now. It is time to take decisive action. When we set this recovery in motion, the United States will lead in an alliance with Russia, China, and India to initiate a new era in global politics. We will pick up where Franklin Roosevelt left off, to our standing at the end of World War II, when Roosevelt had intended to establish an international fixed exchange rate credit system, bringing about a new, just world economic system, an alliance among great nations for development and peace. We will return to those principles today. And the United States, Russia, China, and India will need to take the first step in signing the pioneering agreement for a new world credit system for a global economic recovery of this type. If we don't put this package through in the coming weeks, by mid-January, if the leadership of our country continues to do nothing, then the United States will be gripped by social chaos under the worsening economic conditions. And if the United States goes down, the entire world system goes down in a chain reaction collapse. Therefore, it has to be done.